This program contains language that is intended for mature
or
immature audiences. Anyone affiliated with this train wreck of a show assumes no responsibility for its content.
Jesus, rhyming. God, that's right.
Like he's sitting on a toilet, doesn't he?
God dang, Anthony, just keep running to the daggone end zone. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, you know what? You're a pain in the ass. And all you want to do is talk. Play, will you?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hide the kids and pop the top on a cold one. Coming to you from the extravagant studio at SAA Productions in Charleston, West Virginia, please welcome the inebriated cast of Section 304.
We mentioned that Don Nealon was a smart man.
I mean, you know, you guys are enough to drive a guy crazy.
Good morning and welcome in to the Section 304 podcast. And as always, we're drinking beers and talking ears. And so welcome to those of you listening on the web, iTunes, and Stitcher. And in the studio today, my co-host, my sunburned co-host, John Crum is here. And also producer Steve is the man in charge, twisting the knobs and playing the... He's got vinyl bumpers and MP3s that he plays back for us. Now we're hipsters on the show.
High-tech rednecks.
And then Sarah Janey from PickInsider.com. And we have KJ Myers in the studio with us, played wide receiver at WV. We may be able to get some inside scoop of what's actually happening within the program from Mr. Myers. Of course, he may stay completely mum on some of our topics. We shall see. On the show today, we've got Grant Wiley coming on with us. The ever sexy Grant Wiley. Have you seen Grant lately?
Yeah.
He's about 165 pounds. He's not the 235-pound guy we remember, but Grant is being inducted into the WVU Sports Hall of Fame this Saturday.
He could still stick Lee Suggs.
Yeah. He, and Grant's a good dude, so I'm excited to catch up with him. And we're going to chat just briefly about the Brad Paisley show this Friday night. We'll try to give you guys a little bit of inside stuff on that. And then later in the show, we will hand out our beer of the week. Welcome and good morning, everyone. How is everybody?
Great.
Doing all right?
Mountaineers won.
1-0.
That's right.
Can't complain much after a victory, especially an SEC win. The SEC didn't have a good day yesterday.
Neither did the Big 12.
When the FCC falls, it makes my heart feel good.
That's true.
Just because
the propaganda machine.
ESPN basically just puts their hand down the pants of the SEC and whacks them off all Saturday morning. I get tired of hearing that shit after so long.
I'm still kind of sore that they said that West Virginia University was a bottom feeder program.
Yeah, did you see that?
I happened to watch that this morning, and I immediately texted it to one of my friends. Like, look at these morons. That one guy said they were going to score 30 points on us.
Yeah, they're gonna hang 30. They're gonna score 30 points on West Virginia.
Yeah, they were wrong.
Bottom feeder. Yeah, well, when you only win 4 games the year before, I don't know if you should go calling a team that actually won 8 games and finished with a bowl win a bottom feeder. But and I guess that's the national perception sometimes. If you finish 5th or 6th in a conference, I guess maybe to the SEC snobs, they think that you're a bottom feeder. But in the Big 12, the 5th and 6th place teams can ring your ass up on a good Saturday afternoon, like yesterday.
I'm just saying, if we're such bottom feeders, our program's such a bottom feeder program, then I don't know. Were they watching when we had the NFL draft? I mean, we produced some of the top picks out of WVU.
That's just the SEC looking down their nose, like always. That's just how they do. Let's talk Missouri. Let's talk about yesterday. I thought it was a good win for an opening game. Probably, and I think we talked about it a little bit last week, probably the most equal or on par opening game we've had since '95 Purdue. We've had some big openers since. Maybe like we've played Ohio State,
Played Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. No, that wasn't our first game. We've played. That was
No, in 2003 it was because she got hurt. We lost. We were up 17-7, and they were. They were at the bottom.
You're
of the
right.
top
You're right.
25.
I'm thinking the year we went out there. So Wisconsin, Alabama, Ohio State, which we were underdogs in all those games. Yesterday we were a 10-point favorite, but honestly I thought that was a little high. But it's probably the first on par opening game we've had in a long, long time, I thought.
I thought we played outstanding on offense. I know people are very critical right now of what happened in the red zone, and Dana said as much after the game. That's got to get better, but we pretty much carved up a very, very good SEC defense running the ball. And Shell looked good. Justin Crawford looked outstanding. That kid's a player. And then they ran cover 2. I mean, Dana said, I heard him on the call-in show on Wednesday or Thursday. He said they're going to sit back. They're not going to give us anything deep. We took what we could over the middle. We just got to figure out how to convert in the red zone. And it's the first game. I'm sure they had a game plan, and they just got to tinker. And my biggest concern, though, is Skylar Howard running the ball. He cannot get hurt.
What makes you say that?
I mean, there's some designed runs for him, and there's certain spots on the field I like that, but he took some hits. He ran a couple times in the red zone where he got popped. And, I mean, over the course of a 12-game season, we got guys. We got Wellman, we got Crawford, we got Shell. Maybe hand it off. And you want a mobile quarterback, but if he gets hurt, I mean, we saw what happened yesterday.
Since you're talking about running him in the red zone, I don't understand. Maybe they should. That's where they should put Crest in and just use some of that package. When you're within the 10-yard line, instead of letting your starter take the shots, Crest, he's a pretty big boy. I've only been around him a couple times. He physically reminds me of like a Jared Brown type of guy. Mm-hmm. And we used to do the same thing with Jared. They used to have the Brown package when Pat was playing. They put that big old boy back there, and they just let that fullback and that tailback run out of those formations and just follow him in the hole. Put him in. Don't get your starter banged up. That didn't work out well for us yesterday.
I thought Da'Keil Shorts played an outstanding game too. I mean, I'm sure it was frustrating for Karan White and Shelton Gibson. I mean, they were not giving up anything deep, but Short stepped in. He's been so dependable for the last couple of years. It was good to see them kind of call his number and him step up.
I think he rushed for like 90 yards that game, if I'm not mistaken.
Who? Short?
Da'Keil.
Receive.
Oh, receives, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, he had 8 catches for 131 yards.
Yeah, he had a great game.
Yeah, they couldn't do anything with him. And when you take away those outside receivers, and that's where I think Skylar improved in the offseason seemed like last year our medium game, those passes, that 3rd and 8, we just couldn't get it a lot of the times, and we got it yesterday.
We did. I think they got frustrated. He threw an interception, I think was out of frustration. Because we got these guys on the outside that are super fast and talented, and you want to use them, but you can't force it. So
it's kind of like a drug addict, you want to get high, and you shouldn't get high, and then you go get high anyway. They want to throw the ball deep, and they know they shouldn't throw the ball deep in cover 2, but they do it anyway. It's like when you're playing Xbox and you see your opponent put too deep back, and you're like, I'm gonna go 4 wide and run Hail Mary play anyway.
But overall, I mean, we put up 450 yards of total offense. We were balanced too. I know people were concerned about Holgorsen saying he was going to go back to throwing the ball more. We were pretty balanced yesterday and effective. The run game was effective. Our offensive line was great. That's a really good sign. That's veteran. That's so crucial. I don't think people understand how crucial. There's a common denominator with all good football teams, and that's a good offensive line.
Well, any good team has a good offensive and defensive line.
Right. And I on the defensive side of the ball, I thought we did great stopping their run.
Yeah, they weren't running the football. And it's hard to run against that 3-3-5.
Yeah, it is.
Because it comes at you in so many weird ways. And if you haven't seen it, big teams in the Big 12 are going to run against it a little bit and have some success because they have formulas. But if you've never seen it before, it's tough to defend. I mean, those guys come at you from every different direction and running it's hard to run against because you got free-flowing linebackers who can just get to the ball. So I thought that was a plus. Let's talk a little bit about the receivers. And since we have a former receiver here, maybe he can give us some input. What did you think yesterday of the of your teammates, former teammates, and their production yesterday?
Well, of course, the Kill Shorts, he had another consistent game, and he continues to show up as he has since he's been a freshman for the program. I like that they have another slot receiver, even though I think that's where the interception happened. It was throwing to Javon Durant. But, I mean, he usually makes those plays, going up for a pass like that, turning around and catching. He makes those plays. But I like the transition from him being from the outside receiver to the inside receiver now. I think that gives Skylar another option across the middle whenever the outside receivers are covered. And he's kind of a taller target than last year's season. I mean, we had Jordan Thompson, but it's hard to see, especially with Skylar being at that height. It's hard to see a short receiver running across the middle.
Right.
So that's another plus with the Kill Shorts and Javon Durant. And it's a lot of football left, and I have big expectations for Shelton Gibson, of course, and Karan and their backups. I think it's going to be very exciting.
Well, tell everyone going up against the cover two where they just stick two safeties back there and they will absolutely not give up the deep ball. Tell everyone what's that like for a wide receiver.
Well, it's rough for the outside receiver. It's very rough. I mean, there's really nothing there. It's hard to get anything underneath, even no comebacks or any fade routes. Kind of got to hit them on the post. But when we tried to run the post, it was for an interception, which could be debatable on the receiver and Chugs, but I feel like that could have been thrown a little higher to give Karan just for him to be able to make a better play on the ball, at least. I mean, and Karan has some height, and he'll go up for it and go get it. So I feel like that could have been better on Chugg's behalf, but
coming off the bench cold, though.
I don't know why we threw the ball. We should have just gotten it. We get the ball
it's a minute
in
left.
The second half. That was kind of a meltdown. I mean, Cresco's out there and fumbles, and I hate it for him because people just bang on him.
We were just talking about that
earlier. See the look on his face. Oh,
yeah.
You
when he
did
got
you watch
benched.
the replay?
I didn't see. I was at the game.
Have you seen the game? You haven't seen it?
No.
Yeah, the look on his face coming off the field was just like. And then one of the points I brought up to them this morning was, why didn't they put him back in the game?
Right.
Just there's a minute left. The confidence factor. Now here's a guy that's gone out who's who was recruited as your quarterback of the future. He's sitting at second string, who stuck it out because most kids would have transferred. Yeah. So I got to tip my hat to him for sticking around and wanting to stay in Morgantown. And then he comes out cold and fumbles, which can happen to anybody. Mm-hmm. And then they just bench him, and it's just like,
that dark cloud just hanging over your head.
Yeah, he's got to sit and wait.
He'll get another shot. The defense though, they get the ball on the 7-yard line and they force a 3 and out, and then of course they miss a field goal. Hey, that was huge.
Their kicker, is that the Appy State's kicker?
I don't know.
He just coming.
The flip side though, how about our kickers?
Yeah, they did.
Our punter was outstanding. The kick coverage was good. Gary Jennings needs a fair catch, man.
Yeah, well,
he's going to get killed.
It's kind of tough though when you're not getting too many shots at receiver. Then you want to take advantage of every play. And honestly, it's not about him fair catching. It's about the people up front blocking and doing their job blocking, because we didn't really run too many punt blocks.
Well, Dana said exactly what you said. Those guys didn't block for him. They got to help him out.
He took one hit.
But I like Gary
He's
Jennings.
a tough kid, though.
Yeah.
He's very tough, a very tough kid.
He's going to get one this year. He'll run a punt back.
We need a few of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
We need some Sean Terry, Nate Terry type stuff going on out there. Those guys.
Shelton Gibson came close to running one back.
He was real close on that kickoff. He's going to get a couple this year. He's outstanding.
He needs to take advantage
of
it.
Can you see the difference between Shelton last year and Shelton now?
Yeah.
There's more of a difference where he put in that work in the off season and learned how to run various routes to be a more versatile receiver. Yeah.
He's physically, you can see a little bit in his,
He's running smarter.
He played well yesterday. Although the numbers didn't show it, those outside guys played well. And if you get a chance to go back and watch, I won't watch for the catches. I want to see if they're blocking on the edges. I watch that kind of stuff. Make sure they're blocking because that stuff's important as well. So, they're going to get their numbers. Not everybody's going to play cover 2, especially if we can establish the run.
Right.
Because what we proved yesterday was Shell. It looks like he might be on a revenge tour, and might be looking. And then Crawford, and when you got a guy like he shows up and runs for 100 yards yesterday. When you're the starter and you got a guy breathing down your neck who puts up over a bill on him, that'll make you run a little harder.
Yeah.
And he didn't dance yesterday. No, he didn't pull him MJ. Well, no Michael Jackson yesterday.
It's hard
straight to the hole.
Hard for us to tell though if when he's dancing if someone missed a block. I mean, he ran straight to the hole. He did. He ran right, and even if it wasn't there, he ran to it yesterday. I liked Wellman too.
Yeah. Well, that was a nice change of pace late in the game.
That's a nice change of pace. That's a guy I'd like to see in when we're in the red zone. Yeah. I think you could do some stuff with him, like an H-back.
Is that was that a new formation they ran? Looked like that old diamond formation they used to run. But what they were doing was it looked like an old pro style, except for the backs weren't behind the quarterback. They were lined up beside the quarterback. The pro formation, it was the fullback and the tailback behind you, side by side. It was like a diamond formation. Remember we used to run that in Dana. So they ran something like that yesterday where they were trying to run some power ball, but all that fancy shit, just run it. Get in an I formation and run. I mean, you've got those big horses up front. Just go. And if you got to run a wing and bring him in motion, don't try to be smarter than the game. Is my only point. When you come too fancy sometimes, Alabama yesterday, they were in the eye and they ran the football. Just run.
Well, we ran it pretty well yesterday.
Yeah, but I'm talking in the red zone. We were doing some weird formation where they were trying to bring the two backs and sweep them left and let
Skyler run behind.
Just give it to one of them.
Speaking of runs, did you see that Houston run against Oklahoma? Dude brought it back for like 70 yards.
Is that a record?
My God.
I didn't get to watch any of that game.
They pulled an Auburn return.
He hurled his own football player, too. Yeah. It was hilarious.
Tried to kick a field goal and ran it all the way back. And it may have been a record because they had to check the replay to see if his foot was in bounds when he caught it. So I don't know of any play that would have ever gone longer than that.
How long was it?
It had to have been 113
or something.
I don't know. I mean, it has to be the record because, they literally had to replay to make sure his cleat was in bounds.
They said that goes down as a 100-yard return, that you don't get credit for being in the back of the end zone.
Oh, wow.
But
that's a budget credit.
That's an interesting play. When Auburn ran it back against Alabama, they sort of broke that thing down and determined that is like a kickoff, except you have offensive linemen in where you're doing a field goal.
Right.
That's who you have in to block. And then you have a return guy going against offensive linemen.
Yeah.
If I was a coach,
that'd be like us trying to track him down.
Yeah. Good. Not happening.
He's quick.
I'll do one of those fake dives.
Yeah. I tried, coach.
Yeah. You would have to have you got to have some sort of long field goal package where you would have linebackers in there. Because he had one guy to beat and it was.
Yeah. He had a bunch of guys with 7s and 6s chasing him. And you're not going to catch him.
No.
Yeah, see, that's the thing right there, a package. That's honestly what they should use. Cause,
put in linebackers.
Yeah, put in linebackers. That's actually thoughtful. Because, it's usually just a regular field goal team out there.
And it's all big guys.
Yeah, big guys.
Speaking of special teams, we were talking about special teams a little bit. When they get an A for me because they were not noticed. That's when special teams, that's when they're doing okay.
Well, I love kickers. I love special teams. The punter flipped the field twice.
Yeah, he's a great
We
punter.
kicked out. I think we were maybe on the 15. And, if he doesn't get a good punt off and we don't have good coverage, they have good field position. And he totally flipped the field. And that's the kind of stuff, 15 yards, that goes unnoticed. And it's huge.
Cost North Carolina last night. Their special teams hurt them a little bit. Bad punts. Let Georgia get back in it. But... yeah, all around, good game. What we'll do real quick is let's listen to what Holgerson had to say about the game because he bragged on Shorts and he had some interesting comments from yesterday's game.
I wasn't real happy with the way the second quarter ended. Guys are going to go down. Guys need to step in and do a better job. I thought both of our quarterbacks went in there and didn't do their job. Yodney went down with a knee. Don't know the extent of it, but Colton McKivitz went in there and did his job. Against the first-round draft pick, he went in there and played his tail off. So that's what needs to happen. When guys go down, guys need to go in and play at a high level if we're going to win games. So some did that, some didn't. It'll get addressed. Thought our defense did a great job with sudden change. We're going to give up some plays. We're going to, anytime an opponent runs 100 plays, they're going to hit some on you. Okay, so. That happened, but I thought for the most part, defensively, we did a great job, especially with sudden change, but throughout the course of the game of keeping them down. So, 1-0 against a quality opponent, would take it. Know we got a lot of work to do moving forward.
Then you ran right out because of the strength of their defensive line. Something you saw, or was that a thing where you just wanted to strength on strength?
Well, there's a scheme situation there. I mean, they were going to keep a lid on it. They knew our guys could go downfield and make plays, so they were going to keep a lid on it. They backed their corners up, they backed their safeties up, and they said our D-line is better than your O-line. And I thought we did a good job of running the football at them, which was their strength. And we popped some runs on them, which was good, but they really never brought those guys down to where we could get stuff over the top. I think we got frustrated and forced one deep to Javon, which turned into a pick. Yeah, we can't do that. If people are going to play back, we got to take what they're giving us. I will say that the intermediate passing game, something that we've been talking about a lot, was much improved. Anytime Nikhil, gets open, he's our most consistent guy, but there's a lot of holes. We've been working hard on it, and I thought it paid off.
One of the things that he said there was, they just stayed over the top. And then my response would have been like, just keep running the football. When you're having success like that, run it, bring those safeties down, then just go play action, go over the top. I know it sounds easy on Sunday morning while I'm sitting here after I've had a whole day of drinking beer and watching football games to talk about that and say it, but I mean, it seems logical. It just seemed like it was like, like I said, they just kept wanting to pass the football, and if it's not there, don't take it.
I'm going to ask KJ, what did you see in the red zone? Why did we struggle in the red zone?
Well, just like we discussed earlier, I honestly feel like it comes down to which team wants it more down there at the red zone. I mean, you're pretty much manned up with the blocking in the trenches, and honestly should just hand the ball off either to Elijah Wellman or any big back or any back and just tell them, do you want it? You should want to be in the end zone. You should want to score, and your line should want to get you there.
I tell you what, he missed the throw to Shorts. He'll make that throw.
Yeah. Is it that fade to the corner?
He hit that in the bowl game a couple times.
Yeah, he makes that.
I know we struggled, but we'll adjust. We'll be all right. We got some good ball players.
I never really worry. I worry more in the first game if you just straight look like shit. If we would have only put up 250 yards total offense and kind of pissed around a lot, and they were in the game, I would have worried. But we moved the football. The red zone stuff, they can clean that up. They got next week. They can really kind of, Youngstown is not a push, but it's a game that they should come in and just basically just muscle them and win handedly. But it's a good opportunity to kind of clean some of that kind of stuff up.
Yeah, us running the ball yesterday is a really good sign.
Yeah. Speaking of pushes, well, here's what I thought was interesting. Did you realize our game came down to one play for the Gamblers yesterday?
Oh, yeah. I had us 9.5. I was not only was I sunburned, I was sweating at the end of the game.
You're like, oh shit, come on, man.
Yeah,
it literally came down to one play for the Gamblers, and because that whole fourth quarter, I was kind of like,
We played the second team guys, got them some reps.
Yeah, we're sitting there kind of bullshitting around and getting our second helping of food and restocking the fridge, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh. Here's one for the Gamblers, and this one has everybody at the edge of their seat. That could be a big swing. That could be a big swing for Vegas, and kind of leads me to believe that sometimes
Dabo Sweeney screwed me over yesterday by not kicking that field goal.
You think they think about that shit?
No.
In my mind, they do. In my mind, they do. They're conspiring against me.
They're thinking about John in West Virginia.
Absolutely. Like, this asshole's got money on us. We need
to kick the field goal.
I think it keeps the games interesting. That's for sure. I got to check in with Sarah, Alan Sarah. She played a card yesterday. She had a 4-teamer, and it came down to like UTEP. She had money on the UTEP game.
Oh man,
and
that's gambler worries right there.
That's when it was she's never, I don't think she's ever really played a card before, and the point was probably she's like, if she hits that thing, man, she's going to become an addict. She'll be playing 3 and 4 cards a weekend now. So yeah, it was a good time though. We had a really good day yesterday. Of course, I had some miscommunications with the BM, so I didn't realize that I would have been able to take Layla to Morgantown. I thought she had a soccer game. So I was sitting in my usual spot in the corner in the lazy boy with the 5 TVs. Not that that's a bad setup.
No, it was a good day yesterday.
But I would have
it was a great day. There was all kinds of alumni there. They're inducting Coach Stu today into a Hall of Fame, coaching Hall of Fame.
That's right. I was at the whatever county. Wetzel County.
Yeah.
The Wetzel County Hall of Fame. I think it's just a county-wide Hall of Fame. A lot of guys are going. Coach Nealon's going to be there. Pat White's going to be there.
Noel Devine, he's going to be there.
A lot of those guys will be there today. Stu, and I love Stu. Let me tell you a quick not funny, but an interesting story about Stu. When Rich first got there, when I was working for MSN, Rich was so intense on the field. Their staff was so intense. They were trying to change the culture there from that lackadaisical, older coaching staff to this younger staff that's going to come in and get in your ass type of thing. And they yelled at everybody. They yelled at the water boys. They yelled at the lady jogging her dog around the stadium. They yelled at everybody. And I had free reign to go anywhere I wanted when Nealon was there. I mean, there's times I'd be standing beside Coach Nealon shooting practice. So I was with the press. I wouldn't even walk onto the field because I just figured he didn't know me. He probably thought I was a local TV station. Stu knew me from he made the transition. He was one of the few that made the transition from the Nealon staff to Rodriguez's staff. And he was one of the first. He called me over and was like, listen, you can come out here with me. You stand here with me. So I went over and shot quarterbacks and just listened to got to kind of learn their their terminology. And, he let me come out on the field and kind of hang out with them and kind of introduce me to the staffs to where I wouldn't get a ball thrown at me or something from Rich.
All bullshit aside about Stewart, take him or hate him or love him. That Leave No Doubt speech, every time they play that at Milan Pushkar, I still get goosebumps just hearing that speech.
Probably one of the best speeches of all time.
Yeah, they made a video for the 125th and had highlights throughout all the year. Had everybody, and then they have that,
and he called all the boys lads.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
Stu was an old school guy, though, man. Mm-hmm. Just that. I don't know. I don't like getting too far into it. I think Stu was probably one offensive coordinator away from being a long-term coach there at West Virginia. That's just, good guy,
Hate how it turned out.
Yeah. I think, I always say that's that one thing. I think they broke his heart and it killed him. Mm-hmm. That's the way I always kind of look at it sometimes. But rest in peace, Coach Stu. Well-deserved induction.
Exactly.
And actually, I think they should probably put something in the facility dedicated to him too. But there's so much bullshit politics that goes on with the things that happen around that stadium. It drives me nuts.
Well, that's another. They retired Bruce Bowlesley's number.
Yeah.
Finally.
And was it his grandson that was
his
wearing? His nephew was
there.
wearing his actual game jersey that he used to wear.
Which I totally fucked that up because I was supposed to call them and we were supposed to interview him today.
Oh.
I set that up 3 weeks ago and I totally blew it. I drink too much sometimes.
I think we've
forget shit.
Talked about that though. Their policy on honoring people is they do have some nice decor on all the pillars.
Yes.
The stadium updates are awesome.
Yeah, it looks good.
I'm glad they finally got around to that. I suggested that about 17 years ago when I worked there.
Guys, we've won a few big games. It's okay to put some stuff up and
well, I got the idea from Virginia Tech. When you walked around Tech, and what they did was their local paper sponsored it. Mm-hmm. So it looked like newspaper headlines from the big wins sponsored by the paper. I said, why don't you just go get money from the Dominion Post, dress this place up like a little bit. that place looked like a dump for years, just plain gray walls, and it's like they're scared to paint anything. But
the new entrances have a ways to go. It was tough. Did you went up?
Yeah, well, I was on the field, luckily. But from what I could see, there was like
tough getting in.
Yeah, the lines were super, super long.
Well, people wait to the last minute too.
Yeah, they're tailgating.
It's like, it's 5 minutes till, let's go.
Yeah.
Noon games, people it takes a long time to get in. People like to get that last little bit. Nobody wants to buy them $8 beers, man.
Yeah, they're power chugging, man.
You never have to worry about anybody throwing a beer at you at Milan Puskar Stadium because those beers cost you damn much.
But the new little stadium seats that you can rent and sit on the bleachers with, those look pretty nice.
Yeah, they've been doing that for years. They finally got rid of the ones from the '88 season. Updated them. That's good of them. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we will talk to WV Sports Hall of Famer Grant Wiley. We'll be back.
We'll be right back after this word.
Son of a bitch!
I just won a huge payoff at PickInsider.com, where you can play everything from horse and greyhound racing to daily fantasy sports. Try your luck betting exactas and trifectas on the races, or playing fantasy sports games like Home Run Derby and Touchdown Challenge. The action and excitement are almost unlimited, giving you lots of opportunities to win big. So what are you waiting for? Come join the fun at PickInsider.com and start winning now.
The great state of West Virginia is known for its natural beauty, and if you enjoy fishing in the Mountain State, you need to visit our friends at West Virginia Outdoors, located in Poca. Whether you're a novice or an expert, West Virginia Outdoors has everything you need to catch the big one. They feature premier bait and tackle models, as well as products made right here in West by God, Virginia. For all of your kayak and fishing needs, visit West Virginia Outdoors in Poca, or visit them on the web at shopwvoutdoors.com.
Welcome.
This is Brian Joswiak, and you're listening to Section 304, baby.
Fucking A.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Section 304 podcast. And as always, drinking beers, talking ears, and thank you guys for listening to the show on the website, iTunes, or Stitcher. Before we get to our next guest, I got to make a quick announcement. In this week's Bearwood Company Fan of the Week, Mr. Tommy Crawford of Marmat, West Virginia. Tommy entered the contest by simply uploading a picture of him and his family to our official thread on Facebook. Make sure you look for our Facebook thread. Tommy will get, we'll send him some Section 304 koozies, and we'll throw his name in to the drawing at the end of the season. We'll be drawing for one of those beautiful pieces from the Bearwood Company. So we are now joined by my good friend and one of the all-time greats at WVU, Mr. Grant Wiley, has joined us on the show. Grant, welcome to the Section 304.
Welcome. Thank you.
Well, first, man, just catch everybody up. What's been going on with you?
Catch everybody up.
What's up with Grant Wiley these days, man?
What's up with Grant Wiley? Well, I've been in New York City since I left the Vikings. I spent 1 year back home, and then I came out here. It was at 2005. And right to the turn of the 2006, I moved to New York City, and I've been here ever since. And part of what I've been doing for the past, I guess, 10 years, really, was just building a network and credits in art and entertainment as an actor, as a producer. I've been making music as well. And now, during that time, I reunited with fellow Mountaineer, former kicker Jonathan Oliger, and we've had a tech startup for the past 2 years now. We've built a software tool that allows media creators of pictures and videos, it allows those creators to make objects and information within their pictures and videos interactive, so the viewer can click on objects of interest to either learn more information or make a direct purchase from the media. That's called VPO, and that's what I've been focused on for the past 3.5 years. But it's actually been a business for 2 years now.
Wow. You know, I actually downloaded the site.
And you can download the beta version if you have an iPhone. We're building the Android version now, and you can download the iOS beta version right now. We'd love for everyone. You know, we believe in Mountaineer Nation, and you know, we're partnered with the university, and we'd love for everyone to download the app and start posting and playing.
Hey, Grant, this is John. Going into
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Cooling.
I was going to ask you. I knew you were on Amy Schumer's show, and I mean, what is she like? She's absolutely hilarious. So, wondering what she's like in person. Is she that funny all the time?
I mean, that's her job, is to be funny and to reveal her truth of how she sees things through comedy. And whenever I've been around her, you know, I'm forever grateful for her giving me the opportunity to be on her show several times. And then she even had me on in the film Trainwreck that came out last summer. That was a huge hit. And she's always been very gracious and sweet. And yes, she's on. Like she's always working, and I respect that. Being around comedians is a little different because a lot of times they're always on, but she's always been very human and just sweet and cool with me. So I have nothing but respect for her, and I'm cheering her on from a distance. And whenever I bump into her, it's always a hug and hello, how are you? You know, very, very down to earth.
Hey, Grant, how you doing today? This is KJ Myers. We met up in New York.
What's up, brother? Yeah. Low life.
Yeah.
That's right.
I know what time it is.
Lack of words. Yeah, I just wanted to say hello, man.
Surprise. What's up, brother, man? How's everything going with you?
Everything's going swell. Great turnout at the game yesterday. A couple of the players was rocking the low life headbands, of course, so got some nice images. And actually some fans were out tailgating in some gold Lack of Worries shirts, so that was also another pro.
That's great. Keep it going. I always, one of the things that has always been important to me, and I've spoken to KJ about this, I've spoken to Noel, I've spoken to Pat White, and JT Thomas and Najee Good. Najee is actually one of our partners with VPO, and it's always been important to me ever since coming to West Virginia University to build a tighter camaraderie with alumni players, alumni of the university, period. But with players, it's a little different because we've gone through so much within the same program, and the culture and essence of Mountaineer Nation is deeply ingrained in us. And I was really excited to be able to meet KJ with JT totally by chance in Manhattan at we were on Madison Avenue, and all of a sudden Jonathan Oliger and I came out of a restaurant after we had a meeting. We had a lunch, and we came out, and there's KJ and JT, and it's like, oh, it's just more confirmation of me to continue to build with VPO, and our goal is to create jobs and opportunities for everyone in the state. But most importantly, we really believe that there's an advantage of being an athlete and helping other young former athletes understand how you can transfer that education that you learned with your feet and your speed, and we can build our brains to be whatever we want with that same discipline transitioning into the real world. And so that was really cool for me to bump into you guys that day.
You know, Grant, you've came back to Charleston, and we've hung out several times. And, you know, one of the things that you don't do too much is you don't talk too much about things that happen at WVU unless you're directly asked questions. You've actually, at some point, even you had taken down your social media type of stuff. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today was what's it like for you to be inducted into the WVU Sports Hall of Fame? I know that's a big accomplishment and well-deserved accomplishment. So when you heard, what was that like for you?
I've been answering this question quite a bit lately. You know, I was talking to John Antonic the other day, and he asked me the same thing. And when I came to West Virginia, I was a kid with a dream to play in the NFL. And West Virginia, between Kerlab recruiting me, then meeting Coach Nealon, then coming to camp and being offered literally after the first couple of hours, coaches saw me perform. I had always in my mind just wanted to be. I knew that if I performed and produced the best that I could as myself, that great things would happen. It wasn't even like a thought in my mind. Oh, I want to be inducted in the WVU Hall of Fame, or to me, being selected as an All-American was just a reward for the work that I would put in. And you really have no control over these things, because I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there that don't get selected as All-Americans or whatnot simply because they're not from, a big-time school, and we know how the media works. But I'm just humbled and honored. I don't do a whole lot of weightlifting, and for the first time last winter, I was in the gym at our office in Manhattan, and Shane Lyons, I got a number from 304, and I was like, who's this? So I picked it up, and it was Shane Lyons, and he told me, just wanted to let you know, and it's my honor to let you know that you've been selected to the Hall of Fame. What it's done for me now at this point in my life is really given me a chance to go back and reflect of what it is exactly that I did while I was at West Virginia University, because when you're in it, you're in it. And there's not a whole lot of time to really reflect and see what you've done. I was always very critical of myself, more so than any coach or player. I was very hard on myself, and I never wanted to get caught up in hype or caught up in numbers. And so being elected to the Hall of Fame now and not being involved and being so far removed from where I was then is really special to me, because it's not so far away that I've forgotten everything. Not that I ever will, but it's also not so far down the road that I can't really still embrace it and understand what it is that I did then, now even more so. And just it continues to fuel me, because I know it doesn't matter what I do moving forward in life, as long as I continue to have that same work ethic and that same approach and transfer what West Virginia University has given me athletically and educational wise or academically, I'll be able to do great things for the rest of my life, extraordinary things. And that means a lot to me, that a university and a place that I've grown so much as a man has come back to me and said, we still love you. That means a great deal to me.
Hey, Grant, this is John again. Reflecting back, if there is a signature Grant Wiley moment at WVU, it would be the 4th down stop, goal line stand at Virginia Tech. I mean, that was a huge win for us, and I think that really solidified that the future was bright with Coach Rod. Could you kind of take us back to that play and just like what you saw, what you did, and how you stopped Lee Suggs?
Yeah, I mean, what was it? It was 1st and goal from the 9. I think it started out, and Lee Suggs ran 8 yards up the hole, right down to the 2-yard line or 7-yard or 3-yard line, and then they ran a QB sneak with Randall. I believe it was 3rd down. And I just remember jumping on top of Randall, and fortunately our defensive lineman held up. And this game, I mean, it was back and forth. It was a fight. It was one of those long, drawn-out fights, and there wasn't many big plays. But, we had the lead at this point, and they had the most prolific scoring running back in the backfield, and I thought to myself, it's 4th down. And I looked at Dirty, or James Davis, and I said, Dirty, I was like, I'm going to make this play. I said, I have to make this play. And he said, make this play. And I was like, all of a sudden, and Dirty's like, okay,
I was getting to say you have to say
what he was saying as it was, and he's like, make this play, G-Dub, go nuts. I was like, I got it. It's me. This is my play. Not that Virginia Tech's super predictable, but Lee Suggs had 22 straight games with a touchdown. And I thought, you know, he's a vet. They got to give him the ball. And, you know, the only other play that they do from time to time was that they play action, the tight end leaks out to the corner of the end zone, everybody forgets to cover him. But fortunately, they didn't run that. And I remember this is actually a pivotal play for my life because I experienced what one refers to as like an outer body experience where everything went quiet up to the snap, and then all of a sudden it was over. People are screaming, and I looked back, and Lee Suggs was down. And people ask, well, what was it like jumping over the offensive line? I don't know. I don't really remember. Like it wasn't a thought in my mind of how am I going to get over there. It was just instinct clicked in. Everything went out. I hit his leg. He went down. The defensive line did an incredible job of not losing ground. And then I hit Suggs hard enough that he stumbled and went down. Ultimately went down as a result of me hitting his thigh. And then the troops, our guys were, I think it was Church and Tim Love and Kelvin Dubose. I remember he was in on that too. And just I remember afterwards, I looked back. I was like, we stopped him, and I immediately realized there was still 2 minutes left on the clock. So I was like, let's get off the field before they change anything.
Yeah, really.
So I just started like, let's get off, like retreat. Let's go to the sideline. And I kind of knew that we were still going to have another series to play because we were so far backed up. And I remember going to the sidelines, and as a kid, you know, when the ESPN camera's in your face, that's when you give a shout out to Trap or wherever you're from, and you have a little celebratory time. But I remember literally sitting on the sidelines with my helmet on, and I was laughing and crying at the same time because I felt this extraordinary energy come over me and help me make this play. And I was just trying to make sense of it. At the same time, I knew we were going back out on the field.
Right.
And so I didn't want to lose focus and celebrate, because so often you see guys celebrate and then you lose. And that sucks.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than premature celebrating. And we had, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, we experienced that the next year down in Miami. But I remember going back out on the field, and Brian King, you know, read that play, and Virginia Tech ran that play a lot, and Brian just stayed at home and read Randall the entire way and made that interception, and that's when I knew, you know, game over. We just won at one of the toughest places to play in the country, and we hadn't beaten a ranked team in a very long time, I think since '98, and to beat Virginia Tech in Virginia Tech, I remember when I was on the sidelines, the offense was running down the clock, a Sprite bottle came flying from the stand, and I literally caught it in midair. And I was like, oh, we did it. Like, to me, that was it. Instead of getting hit in the head, I caught it, and that just let me know. It's like, wow. And then afterwards, I think it was so special to all the guys that stuck with the program and didn't leave, because we had gone through so much the year before with the transition and Coach Rod coming in. And a transition not easy for any team, no matter where you're at, because, you know, it's like a clean slate. I just spent 3 years of my life prior proving to this staff that's leaving that I was worthy to start. And then Rich comes in, and understandably, he's like, everybody's got to prove it again. And it wasn't easy for anyone. And then to especially go 3-8 with all the talent that we had, that wasn't easy. And to get beat by Virginia Tech 35-0 at home the year before was not easy. I was injured. I was injured most of that year. So coming out and being able to beat them there, that was the only other school that I was really seriously considering going to, was Virginia Tech. And beating them there, because 2 years prior to that, we went into halftime up 14-7, and then Michael Vick happened.
Yeah, he tend to happen to a lot of people. I think that I think that 0-1 season. I'm gonna blame those white pants you guys wore that day on that loss.
Oh yeah, we came out. That was so stupid. We come out in the yellow pants, right? And then we tricked them by changing our pants right before he came out for the game.
Yeah, that worked.
I thought to myself, if we're focused on, if we're gonna wear white pants, let's just wear the white pants. We don't have to make it. It's not like a fashion change. We're not the Oscars, but the white pants are fresh. I mean, those uniforms the boys wore yesterday. They're so lucky. They had no idea what it was like coming to WVU and getting one T-shirt for your workout. Now if you go in there, and I'm like, Danny, because Danny's still there, and I'm like, Danny, can I get some gear? And he actually hooked me up the last time I was there. But
it wasn't like the old days where you had to fight with him for shoes.
They get so much gear. It's like they have a section just for coaches' gear. Then they have a section for players' gear, and it's so much gear. It's a whole wardrobe.
You set to fight for shoestrings.
Yeah, and I'm glad it's the way it is now. But I really think if it would mean something to the coaching staff now and to the players now, and Gibby was there. So Gibby saw the whole was a part of the whole transition. But if they really understood where we were at, in 2001, and to see how much the program has grown, facilities wise, Nike contract, whatever it is, it really put things in perspective. And I think there may be even a greater appreciation for the tradition that we've continued to uphold for so long.
Hey, Grant, by chance, is there going to be am I going to get a phone call Friday night around 3:00 talking about a house party this Friday?
No.
Grant would call me up. I had all my DJ equipment.
I was notorious for throwing good house parties.
He called me up at like 3 a.m. Hey, what are you doing? I'm sleeping. Well, come over. I'm getting ready to have a party. I need a DJ. I'd get up and take all my shit to his house at like 3 a.m. and we wouldn't stop. I mean, it would be 8 a.m. and I'd be like, dude, I have to go home. I've been up for 24 hours.
I was probably passed out by that point.
Good times. Well, I'm going to try like hell to get up there. Grant, I kind of went through the program and worked there when Grant was going through. So Grant and I have been friends a long time, and I'm proud of you, man. It's well deserved. It's kind of like one of those things where you actually when you get to see it up close and live it and see it happen in front of you. And then fast forward, 16 years later, 15, 14 years later, and they're finally going to hang up your picture where it belongs. And but you're well decorated there at the university. But this is kind of like the icing. Maybe next might be the College Football Hall of Fame. Who knows? But
who knows?
This one's well deserved.
Thank you, and it's I'm still processing it. Like I hear everyone says, "Oh, you've reached the pinnacle." It's like, to me, it's a chapter of my life, and to be able to close that chapter of my life. Not that my relationship with the university is closing in any way, because we've literally partnered in business with the West Virginia University Research Corporation, and it's just closing this chapter of my athletic career. And I think it's pretty special to be able to do that with a Hall of Fame induction.
Well, I'm sure Trap PA will be in the building.
Yeah, it's Trap PA. We got a crew coming down.
I guarantee it. Shit, you guys used to rent out a whole hotel for your game, so I can imagine what this is going to be like.
I know there's at least 40 people, and that might be under what that's just what I know. But, I really, it's going to be like flashbacks. And I really just want to I know I have to talk for 5 minutes, but I feel like doing these interviews have really just I'm really just saying, aside from a bunch of thank yous, I'm really, not going to spend a whole lot of time talking. But it's going to be interesting because, yeah, it's kind of surreal. When you don't expect to do something or expect to receive it. The same thing with Shelly Poe, dude. We're going into Maryland my senior year, and am I taking up too much time?
No, talk away, man.
Oh,
we're untimed.
We're in ball practice my senior year, and right before we go out to practice, Shelly Poe comes up to me. She says, "Grant, I just want to let you know that," and Shelly and Mike Frigel were very good at gauging me, because I could come across very annoyed when it came to media and spending, all that time, which I probably needed to be in the training room getting put back together. But, they did a really good job of gauging whether they should talk to me about something or not. And so she catches me right before I go up to practice, and she taps her. She's like, "Grant, I'd just like to congratulate you. You are consensus All-American." And I was like, "Oh, incredible. Thank you." Right to drills.
Well, there's
that was the celebration. And then I think it was after practice, she says, "Oh, and you're one tackle away from breaking Darryl Talley's all-time tackle record." And I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks." Up to the training room.
Yeah.
It was never like these things are great. Don't get me wrong, and it took a lot of hard work to get there, but it was never my focus. So I guess that's what my point was. But it's cool to when I was going on the awards tour for the Nagurski Award and all these All-America banquets, that was a whole lot of fun. But at the same time, I'm in these moments, and I'm just trying to understand it. Like, I'm not, how some people are really good about, walking in the glory, and yeah, I'm Mr. Cool. It's like, I've never been Mr. Cool. So I've just been trying to, go through these experiences one step at a time and really just embracing them and having fun with it.
Well, Grant, thanks for taking time and joining us this week. I will text you this week, and I'm going to try to be there. Like I said, got a couple things pop on the radar. If I come up, I'm not even going to stick around for the game. I'm literally going to come up to see your induction. So,
well, I'll send you guys some information about Friday night.
Okay, perfect.
When we get off the phone.
All right, I will check.
Kind of a house party. It would probably be a little less tame.
Nice.
Than we would all like, but.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on to the show. And
thank you.
And I'll catch up with you. I'll call you back after we get off the air here and check in with you. But thanks for coming on to the Section 304 podcast, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, 304.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Grant Wiley, All-American, all-around good guy. We used to have a lot of good times. Like I said, it'd be 3 o'clock in the morning, and he'd call me, talking about, "Bring your equipment over here." I'm like, man, I just went to bed like an hour ago. But let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to catch up with KJ Myers. He's got some interesting stuff happening, and you heard a little bit of it from Grant. We're going to give our picks next week for the Youngstown game and catch up with some of the Mountaineers and an NFL. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back after this word.
Son of a bitch! You're buying or selling a home. You still have to work and take care of life. Get the real estate company that takes care of you. Property Elite. We communicate with you. Revolutionary, isn't it? No frustrating waiting, wondering, pacing back and forth. Property Elite sells your house fast using technology, social media, and old-fashioned hustle. We search for that perfect house relentlessly until it's yours. We can help you with anything on the market. You have lots to take care of, so take care of it. We'll handle the real estate on Facebook and at PropertyEliteWV.com.
Hi, I'm Dale Sparks of All Pro Photography and Framing, featuring the Dale Sparks Collection. Everyone has a favorite Mountaineer memory. Over the last 34 years, I've captured them all. Whether it's Major Harris's The Play, Quincy Wilson's The Run, Pat White's The Run for the Record, or Hot Rod Hundley's One More Shot, they're all here. Visit our photo gallery at 160 Pleasant Street in Morgantown.
That's what we do, but there's more to us than that. If you want to know who we are, it's on the logos of our caps. We're Mountaineers, volunteers.
All right, yep. This Friday night, Brad Paisley will be in the building. Free concert up on the hillside. I talked to Doug a little bit about the show, and should be a madhouse up there.
I love me some Brad Paisley.
And he's been playing in this for years. You know, they've made several attempts at trying to get into get a show at Mountaineer Field. So it's going to happen. It's free. So if you're in Morgantown, come and check that out. You got to march your ass up that Law School Hill, though. It's up there. It's up on the Brown lot.
How did you guys run up that thing? I get winded.
After they barf and then have to run it again.
Walking down this.
Oh my gosh, I honestly couldn't tell you. Running Law School Hill you will never forget it. Never forget it. It was
those poor boys.
Yeah.
Those poor boys. But I think that's why we have so much stamina, and you know, they can be a 4-quarter team. It's just running Law School Hill. They have endurance and stamina. They've
shortened that thing too. They didn't like the old days. No. That thing was longer. And Barrowis was there with a damn cattle prod. I don't know if you've ever heard of Mike Barrowis or anything. That he was the strength coach at WVU. He actually had a TV show called American Muscle that was on A&E. And dude was a monster. There's a famous picture. If you ever get a chance, look it up. It's they were doing articles about strength coaches, Sports Illustrated, and there's a centerfold picture of the 98 or 99 team pushing a tank.
I remember that.
It's like Anthony Becht and all those guys pushing a damn tank. Now you're talking about that's unconventional back in those days.
Are you sure it wasn't Owen Schmidt that they were pushing?
Oh yeah, but you know, back in those days they didn't do stuff like that. He was one of the first people I knew that had guys flipping tires and that kind of stuff. So, and it always WVU. I remember those Miami teams would come to town, and maybe we weren't as talented as them sometimes. But their coaches would be like, "Man, those Don Nehlen teams will punch you in the face," and that was one of the signatures of Mountaineer football. So, but we're joined here in the studio. KJ Myers is with us, and I want to get. It was Wiley talked a little bit about it in the interview. You've got let's call it a movement.
Yes.
That you've started. Tell us a little bit about what you've got going on with the low life culture. And how it all breaks down. Because when I hear the words low life, I'm thinking of like the son of a bitch that punched me in the face at the bus stop about 20 years ago. That's what I call a low life, but that's not what your movement's about.
Yeah, no, it's low life has a negative connotation, a bad meaning, which in 2013, that's when it came to me, and I was at a bad point in my life. I was at a low point in my life, and was kind of like a low life, living like a low life, which is not me. And next thing you know, a voice came to my head and told me, low life, lack of worries. And that's all it was at that point, at that moment. And I was just like, lack of worries. And then every day after that, I just began reconditioning my mind and refocusing and telling myself lack of worries, because I was so far away from home. And I was going through a lot of stuff, and being from Florida, being away from my mommy and my family and friends, I got to a point where I almost wanted to give up on myself. And this lifestyle, this movement, it brought me back to life. And ever since then, my mission has been for it to help or save other people's lives like it helped and saved my life. Or even if someone's life is already good, make it even better. Or for someone to be a part of something and actually be living for a purpose if they don't have one. And another part of low life is the LIFE acronym, which is living in fearless efforts. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. We walk through the valley of the shadow of death here on earth every day, and we can't live in fear. We have to be fearless, which is your actions, and lack of worries, which is just like Hakuna Matata, means no worries. That's your mentality. And then the symbol is a balloon, a red balloon, red meaning love, and a balloon symbolizing letting go. letting go of any negativity in your life, anything in your past, or just anything bad or anything that's slowing down your life process. Just let it go. And once you let that balloon go, it's gone.
You know, what's it like for you to, like you said yesterday, you saw people wearing the shirt. Grant Wiley knew instantly, as soon as you introduced yourself, he knew what it was. What's it like for you to put this much effort into a movement, and it's starting to be recognized not only by your peers, but fans and people in general that maybe have adopted this mentality and are kind of living by it?
It's actually remarkable and warms my heart every time something happens, or whenever someone gives me feedback, whether it's just replying or messaging me via social media. And it's very unbelievable, but then in some cases it's believable because I've been doing this since 2013. So, I mean, I could have easily just stopped whenever I got this no or that no, or when someone told me just anything negative. I could have let that outweigh all the good or everything that I had set out to do, but I didn't. And now it's further than it's ever been. And I will continue to the day I die, and I pray it lives on.
You know, and you've probably seen it. Sometimes when guys come to school, maybe they didn't come from the best background or even bring some negative, habits, lifestyles to the program. Is this something that you hope maybe starts at WVU and can kind of spread across other programs? Because I could see where something like this, when you go and you've got a young recruit or a guy that's showing up for his first season, and he maybe brings some of that lifestyle that he was, into school with him, that could kind of contaminate a program. Yeah. Is this a good program or a good opportunity for you to go and talk to them to kind of maybe convert them and kind of let them see that that's not the way to live? Yes, well, definitely. And playing on the team, it's a lot of players who come from tough backgrounds, honestly. And I was blessed with the background I came from and my upbringing. My parents being together and working their hardest for us to be living, I don't want to say comfortably, but better than most of my peers, honestly. And it really saddens me and hurts me whenever I hear some of my teammates or some of my brothers' stories and just where they came from and how they were brought up, which is rough for a lot of people. And right. Honestly, my best advice for them is lack of worries. I mean, we can't sit here and worry our lives away, even though the reality of our lives might be rough or tough. There's no time to waste. I mean, life is short, so why spend time worrying?
I think that's a great message. I mean, like playing football, most of these guys on the team are the best players on their high school team. They dominated the competition. And when you come up to a major Division I program, you're going to face adversity. And I think it would be the most frustrating thing in the world to come in and not immediately have success. And I guess that's a great message for those guys. Just stay focused, don't worry about it, and, stick to it, handle the adversity, and then go forward and good things will happen. Stick it out. That's a great message for life.
Right. I mean, I love the fact when you see guys like KJ come with such a positive message, especially when it comes from within the program. Was kind of born in Morgantown within the program from things that he was dealing with. I love seeing the guys at WVU do such positive stuff.
I do too.
I've had the opportunity. I've followed this a little bit online. Danny Buggs is another guy. If you ever get the opportunity to meet Danny Buggs, played here in the 70s, played for the Redskins and the Giants. You talk about just a positive person. I had Danny here a couple years ago for a fundraiser. I was dealing with some personal issues in and out, dealing with some pretty negative stuff. And he's got a book. It's literally like a playbook, a daily playbook of prayer and positive thoughts. And I'll have to show it to you. It might inspire you to even put something together that you can get out to people.
Well, another facet of low life is uplifting one another. Instead of, bringing each other down or being so negative, the only time you should ever look down on somebody is when you're helping them up. It's, supporting one another, being each other's biggest fan. The world could take a note from KJ. I got to know him personally, and he is a very, very bright young man. He's very kind-hearted, very sweet. Everybody loves him. What he represents with low-life culture and lack of worries, it's phenomenal. And you see it start to gain more momentum. Even NFL players are wearing the low-life bands. You've got, top recruits from colleges wearing low-life bands. I think the game's son is wearing low-life gear. Drake's security guards were wearing low-life stuff. I mean, it's starting to catch a lot of momentum.
Well, it's a great message.
Exactly.
I mean, I think we've reached a point in our culture where the negative is not cool anymore. People are sick of the negative image. Mm-hmm. So when something like this comes along, I remember first seeing it. We became friends on Facebook, and I was following it. I thought, man, what a good message. I was like, my thought process was, I've been there a few years ago, although my advice came from someone different, but I could see totally where if someone gets a hold of this and they're down, it'll definitely push them in the right direction.
And when you think of it, it's perfect because, like you said immediately, when you hear the word low life, you automatically think of a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Immediately. But then when you get into the actual acronym of it, you learn that there's a positive message behind it. And that's exactly what low life culture does, is they're trying to put positive back into a negative type of world. Make the world a better place, not only for us, but for generations to come.
Well, if anybody out there is listening and they have a big fat bank account and want to help KJ push this into the right direction, maybe even, help him create the programs to get it into the schools, give us a call, get in touch somehow, some way, and we will get you to KJ. And I wish you nothing but luck with this because, we sit here and we do crazy stuff on the show, and but just hearing that kind of message kind of brings it all back to reality, and it's a good message, man. I wish you nothing but luck and a lot of fortune with this program. I think it's got a big future. So
thank you.
Well, let's here's what we're going to do. We are going to let's give our predictions this week, and we'll do this real quick, and then we got a couple other things to run through. Youngstown State's coming to town this week. Traditionally, they can spoil your party.
I know it firsthand.
Yeah.
He threw a Hail Mary against my Huskers, and I'm still a little salty about it. I'm just saying.
I think West Virginia should handle Youngstown this weekend.
Oh, I'm talking about BYU. My bad.
No, we're talking about Youngstown State this week. So I'm going to go on a limb. I think we solve our red zone issues this week, and I'm going to go with 41-14. I think we'll probably give up a couple of touchdowns, but 41-14, West Virginia rolls this weekend.
I don't really know anything about Youngstown. I know Bo Pelini's their head coach, and he is extremely defensive-minded, but he's kind of batshit crazy.
He loves his cats. I'm just joking. No, he was a fan.
I think we'll handle them. I think we'll solve some stuff. You make your biggest improvement week 1 to week 2.
Yeah.
I think they're going to look at some tape and figure some stuff out in the red zone, and we'll be fine. Like I said, running the ball down Missouri's throat was a real good sign for this team. So I look for us to improve, and I think 42-10 or that seems about right.
Early exit to the end to the beer. Get and leave a little early. Get out there and crack a few more open. Listen to the radio shows. Predictions?
I'm calling 35-14. I think 35-14 would be safe. I do love me some Bo,
You can't get us to the 40s? Come on, Sarah.
Well, I mean, just given the first game, I don't think the kinks will fully be worked out, but I've got faith in the coaches at WVU. Hopefully that a lot of them are worked out. But I'm saying 35-14.
All right. She's sticking to the 30s. KJ?
I say goose egg. I don't know what
Shut out.
Shut out.
I don't know what the offense is going to do, but I'm looking to be surprised by the numbers they put up.
He's calling for a shutout. Just straight shutout. Doesn't know what all right. I'll go with that. I'll take a shutout any day. Anytime you can put a shutout. Well, here's what let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about our guys in the NFL. I think there's been some cut downs. This segment's called Eers in the NFL. It's presented by our friends at PickInsider.com, your newest destination for daily fantasy sports, wagering on horses and betting on the puppies. You can actually go to the website. If you use the promo code section 304, they will match your initial deposit up to $25. That's pickinsider.com. I believe the 53-man rosters were cut down. It looked like it was starting to kind of come down late last night. Wasn't able to kind of dive too far into it. One of the cuts that kind of shocked me was Najee Good was released by the Eagles. Mm-hmm. He's been on that team for a few years now. Who the hell knows what's going on in Philadelphia? Although they did just rob a train with their trade to the Dallas Cowboys. Did you see that mess?
Was that the Bridgewater deal?
The Bradford deal.
Yeah.
But
I think they're up shit creek without Teddy Bridgewater.
Well, no, the Eagles, Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah, but then they trade Bradford to...
Or was that the deal? No, I'm thinking...
Bradford went to the Vikings.
He went to the Vikings. I'm thinking,
and they gave up a first-round
I'm thinking
pick.
the Sanchez deal. Yeah, they just robbed a train with the Vikings.
Well, the Broncos cut Sanchez.
Well, you think?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't let him. I wouldn't let him throw my little Nerf ball with my nephews. But yeah, I was kind of shocked though to see Najee Good. I think he's going to get picked up.
Yeah, he'll get picked up
Yeah.
fairly quick. You were talking about the first show, you and Kevin, and how great Najee Good has become. He didn't have like a super stellar season at WVU, but he carved out a nice
niche.
career.
Yeah,
in the pros.
I think he's going to land somewhere. There's a lot of guys bouncing around. Of course, we talked about it last week. Tavon got paid. He's probably still counting money.
I got
12.5.
I picked up Sims on my fantasy team.
Did you?
Yeah, I think Charles Sims is going to have a big year.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would have to think so because being that he's a third down guy, he's a guy you can throw the ball to out of the backfield, and he can run it too. If you get in the red zone, he's your red zone guy, and if you're looking for fantasy points, that'd be the way to go. Is picking him up. He's going to probably score some touchdowns.
I think Antonio Brown is probably sulking somewhere because
apparently he's upset about the Tavon.
He can get over it. Yeah. I called it.
Everybody, here's the thing, though, man. Like, just do your thing. Don't worry about what everybody else is making. I mean, Tavon. But, here's the thing, though. He's out in L.A. That media out there is a little bit different than St. Louis. Mm-hmm. So you're getting paid big boy money. You better go play big boy ball.
Well, Kevin White had a good preseason game. He finished the preseason strong.
Yeah.
I want to see him. I really think he could be where Tavon's the underneath guy, slot guy. Kevin White is the throw the ball to him 15 times, have a big game production-wise. So we'll see what he can do.
Kevin's got I think it might be kind of a make or break kind of season for him just for the fact that, when you're a first-round pick, the expectations are very high. And missing a season, people are like, oh, well, they're not going to give you time. So he's got to come in and produce or people are going to immediately kind of jump on him. And I think he's got the physical ability. He can kind of punk. They've made it now, too, where if you're a receiver in the NFL, I mean, they can breeze your shoulder pads and they'll throw a flag. So a big physical guy like him should be able to put up big numbers in the NFL. If I was playing, he might be a guy that I'm going to have to watch and see what they do, though, just to see if Chicago if they're going to go to him. But he'd be a guy I would pick up on my fantasy team just for the fact that, you get in the red zone, you just throw it to him. And there's not much you can do with because he's so physical, big and physical. So, and also, too, I'm trying to think. I know Jared Barber was released.
Yeah, Jared Barber was released.
That was kind of going to be a tough pickup for him because they were loaded on defense. I don't know if I would have went to Carolina, but from what I understand, he's going to re-sign maybe to their practice squad. So hopefully, that's not a bad payday either.
53-man roster's tough.
Beats working for 9 to 5 for anybody. But next week the NFL kicks up. So as soon as we
finally
leave here,
regular season,
get the hell out of here and go drink some beers and watch some football. But I'm looking forward to that. So we'll have more information next week as far as who's playing who and who's doing what in NFL. And that's our update on the Eers in the NFL, and that's brought to you by PickInsider.com, your destination for fantasy sports. And before we get out of here, it is that time.
It's time for the Beer of the Week Award.
It's that time for the Beer of the Week Award. And what do you guys have?
I got me some Miller High Life, the champagne of beers, baby.
Well, I'm not drinking beer today because I got to drive my small fry around. So
I'm drinking a little bit of hair of the dog that bit me yesterday.
Yeah, I had a few yesterday.
They frown on that, driving your kids around with open beers containers in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's go around the horn here. Your Beer of the Week, Crum?
I'm going to go with the offensive line. I mean, those guys don't get the recognition that Shell or Justin Crawford would. But
Horses.
Those guys, I don't think people appreciate what they did to that defensive line. I mean, we kind of had our way with them. So it's a good sign going forward. Hopefully we continue to run the ball. I think if we can run the ball, we can do some damage in this league.
Sarah?
I'm going to give the Beer of the Week. I love me some Mountaineer football, love the Mounties. But to the University of Nebraska, they suffered a loss with their punter, Sam Foltz. He was tragically killed in a car accident along with the Michigan State punter as well.
Right.
And they came on the field with 10 men last night, and they took the penalty of delay a game because there was no kicker, and that was them honoring him. And the whole stadium absolutely erupted. And I've got goosebumps talking about it just because I'm a big Husker fan. And then I also want to give credit to Fresno State for declining the penalty and not taking the yards because of the fact that they didn't kick the ball because they lost.
I would have took the penalty. But I'm an asshole like that.
We're here to win games.
Yeah.
But still, I mean
it was a nice gesture.
And his family was there, so I mean it was one of those just goosebump moments. You're just like, oh.
Well, I'll say West Virginia's defensive line. I mean, it's tough. Only 3 down linemen, and they're moving around. They're staying active. They're not giving up on the plays. Even when the quarterback is scrambling or anything, they're after him. And that's big, honestly, and I love the effort.
I'm going to give Beers of the Week to our running backs. Russell Shell ran the ball. We have been on Russell's ass for about a year on this show.
Yeah.
And, we tend to be hard on the guys, but that's our job, is to sit and critique and be Sunday morning quarterbacks. But we were hard. I was hard on him last year. Game 1, night and day from last year. I've said it, run straight to the hole, get your 3 and 4 yards. And he's such a big back. If he just runs to where he's supposed to go, he can get those yards. If you stop and dance in the backfield, it's not going to happen for you. So my Beers of the Week, Shell, and then Crawford.
Crawford.
As advertised so far, he could come out and run for 12 more yards the rest of the season. But just physically, it looked like when he got the ball, he ran straight forward. He's got a little glide to him. I still haven't. He's big and tall.
He reminds me of Charles Sims.
Yeah.
He's got that wiggle to make the first guy miss. And then Dana said that he will be more involved. They try to get him in the passing game. He's an effective receiver. So we'll see going forward. I also, Kazir White looked good too.
Kazir did really good too.
Yeah, he had 7 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. So
Da'Keel Shorts did really good too.
Da'Keel Shorts, absolutely. So we had a lot of guys step up yesterday.
Yeah, I enjoyed. It was kind of a ho-hum game though, just watching it on television. But when you break it down and look at a few things, it was a good performance, opening day performance against the SEC team. Don't know why everybody's so.
Let's put it out there. We kicked the shit out of them yesterday.
Yeah, physically.
We dominated them physically. And that, like I said, that's a good sign. So we'll figure out the deep passing game.
Okay, John, let me ask you a question. When we were talking about this earlier, Gibby said that their offense was the fastest they've ever seen. Now, do you think that caused a lot of problems, or that might have been kind of confusing to us?
They shouldn't be confused by it. We see it every day in practice.
What it does is it makes you play a lot of guys on defense. We had to sub a lot, and some young guys got in. There was Schuler, number 88, and then I didn't see him, but the kid from Cabell Midland, Reese Donahue, played. So we got some depth. That's good. I mean, there's still a lot of questions on that side of the ball, but overall, I thought they were fine.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. They see that tempo, and they've played the best with that tempo
Baylor
and beat them.
That's Baylor's offense.
Yeah, you just saw Baylor's offense without the Baylor players. So
I bet you they're missing Art Browse right now.
So I think we're going to be okay. I don't. And here's the one thing, and let me say this to the fans: I don't get the constant just bitching and moaning. I mean,
about Skylar.
It's just constant. It's you go out and you put up 460 or 490 yards of offense. And, we had some red zone problems. And we sit and talk about it. But I mean, it just immediately in the second quarter, as soon as there was a little bit of a meltdown, I tuned into my social media thread, and here come the coaches bitching and whining, moaning. Dana can't get a quarterback.
Well, we kind of got spoiled with Pat White.
Christmas. Well,
we got spoiled with Pat White
and
Gino, yeah.
And Jared Brown.
But here's the thing, man. That's called football. And most of these fuckers out here that sit and whine and turn to their social media have never played one down of football.
Yeah, suit up, put the pads on, and go take some hits.
And it just drives me crazy. And I don't know why that stuff drives me nuts. And I get it. And I get the complaints about Holgorsen. And I get this. But we played well yesterday. So I don't get the immediate turn after a win.
The thing that frustrates me about fans, and I'm probably guilty of this too, is they act like when a coach calls a play, they expect it to work.
Yeah.
And you never know if a guy misses a block, or there's just so much nuance to schemes for us to get on and constantly complain. I mean, how much preparation goes into a game plan, KJ? I mean, we don't know shit. I'm seriously.
Serious.
I mean, just because you
week's
played
worth.
Just because you played football in high school, I mean, some stuff didn't work. They're going to get it corrected. No one needs to. You just have people that look for something to nitpick about, and they just need to let the season play out. We're going to get better. It's a work in progress.
It's like
we'll figure stuff out.
You can call plays all day long,
on
but
Xbox.
it's up to your players to execute.
Absolutely,
it's up to your players to execute. It's not the coach's fault. It's like you said, somebody might have missed a block,
it's this Xbox generation we live in. But
R1.
We've got a super long show here, so we're going to dive out of here. But Sarah and KJ, thanks you guys for coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
Grant Wiley, Hall of Fame induction. If you're in Morgantown this weekend, it's a big weekend. Brad Paisley going to turn it up on Law School Hill, and then Saturday morning, get over there and see Grant Wiley. You talk about the guy that's totally humble and just a good dude.
He was so good too.
People don't realize.
He was great. Great is a word that is overused. He was great.
We haven't seen a linebacker like him since he left. And we've had some good linebackers.
I think he's the best middle linebacker that I ever watched for West Virginia.
Around every play.
Yeah, I didn't see Sam Huff play, obviously, but he was just instincts like he talked about stopping Lee.
Kwiatkowski, yeah.
He's probably the closest thing.
Yeah, he reminded me. He played a lot like Grant Wiley.
But Grant was,
stripping the ball, intangible stuff, just
causing turnovers, natural instincts, played as a true freshman. No, a redshirt freshman, was rookie of the year in the Big East coming out. Had he left his junior year, and I've talked to him about this, we've been out to dinner and doing stuff. Had he left his junior year, he would have been a top 15 pick, first round draft pick. He stuck around. But some things happened. He's not bitter about it or anything like that, but some small things happened that didn't help his draft stock, and but then he had the injury issue too. When he got to Minnesota, he went in as an undrafted free agent, and he couldn't keep his shoulder in place. He dislocated it twice, and he had to just retire from football. And so, but he's doing well for himself. I mean, he's been in some big movies, got that app thing started, and
Amy Schumer, that's my Woman Crush Wednesday. I love her.
He's doing some big things. So thanks, Grant, for coming on. And thank you guys for listening to the Section 304 podcast.
Take us out, Brad.
All right, Brad. We'll see you guys this Friday night, Mountaineer Field. But thank you guys for listening. And make sure you tell some of your friends about the Section 304 podcast.
Drive Ford and Chevrolet, 224 and 88. We crank up our music Friday nights. stations. Yeah, we're one big country nation, that's right.
The producer for Section 304 is Steve Adams for SAA Productions. SAA Productions specializes in affordable, small-scale audio and video projects. Wanting to jump on the podcast bandwagon? Call 304-299-1234. That's 304-299-1234. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and on Twitter.